The VW Golf R is a special car to me, well, because it's the first car that I ever took on a racetrack. That was in the 7th generation. This one is the Mark 8.
There are some changes to this one over the previous generation, but before I get to those, it's good to note that the Golf R hasn't seen any updates since 2019.
So the most obvious of those is the exterior styling. Now, I feel like it's just sort of took what the Mark 7 was and kind of expanded on it. This one is a little bit longer. You will see a very familiar looking C-pillar right here. The face is a little bit different, but the thing that makes it look the most unique is the more dramatic slope in the hood.
I'll definitely leave the aesthetic commentary up to you all because it's so subjective. But if you're looking for my opinion, I'd say this hot hatch now looks a bit more sophisticated and grown up.
I happen to think those are two good things. Okay, these are kind of squinty.
Under the hood, you'll find some things that are the same, but different too. The R is still powered by a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, only this one makes 315 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque with the DSG transmission and 280 with the manual.
So let's talk about both of those things for a second, the power and the transmission. Now, I'm driving the 6-speed manual transmission. You know, it's fairly smooth. I don't feel like it's quite as smooth as the one in the Civic Si, but the gearbox, every once in a while I get a little bit of a hiccup. Maybe it's just me because I haven't gotten used to it yet. But you know, it's a manual, so there are so few of these offered, I'm really not going to complain all that much about it.
But anyone who knows won't be quick to dismiss VW's 7-speed DSG. Like I said before, you get a bigger torque number, and frankly, if you're after quick track times, the dual clutch shifts so quickly and smoothly, you won't regret not doing the rowing yourself. It's one of the best you can get that's not on a premium badged car. Of course, you also have paddles to get the best of both worlds, but you're going to put down faster lap times with it, if that's what you're into.
So if I were speccing my own Golf R, it would take me about 3.9 seconds to decide on the DSG. And yes, that is how long it takes to get from 0 to 60 in the R with that transmission.
As for power, the extra bump is lovely. Was it necessary? Maybe not, because the Golf R is exceedingly good at getting a move on. It puts power down very efficiently. The acceleration feels quick and sure. I never feel a lack in that department when I'm driving this, and certainly I didn't before either.
When it comes to the handling of the Golf R, you're not going to hear a whole lot of complaint out of me. The R comes with VW's 4Motion all-wheel drive system. Don't forget the GTI is front-wheel drive with a limited slip differential, which is good, but with that traction that you get from the 4Motion system, it's next level. You get a torque vectoring system in the rear that can send 100% of the rear torque to either one of the back wheels. So whichever way you're turning, it can shift all of the torque to the appropriate wheel so that you can literally just scream out of corners. It's really pretty impressive.
The R oozes with grip and at the same time endless stability. You really feel as though you could sort of do anything in this and get away with it.
So there's also a drift mode in the Golf R, which, you know what, you kind of want that in these little hot hatches. That's kind of what they're for. Turn off all the nannies, get a little squirrely, have a little fun. I have to say though, and look, I'm not the best drifter on the planet, I won't pretend to be, but I put it in drift mode, and boy, I tried really, really hard to get the rear end to squirt a little bit. I know I'm on public roads, so I don't really have that much of an opportunity, but you know, it's really, really hard to do. I think the Golf has a tendency to kind of understeer to begin with. So as locked in as this all-wheel drive system is, I'm not sure if it's maybe too locked in that for somebody who is not absolutely driving at 8, 9, 10 tenths isn't going to be able to have a little bit of fun with it, which as I said, is kind of the point of this hot hatch.
Whether you enjoy a little more squirrel in the sauce or not, the Golf R adds some exceptional brakes, making for a very tidy track vehicle here that you can also pick up the kids from school in, grab a week's worth of groceries, and comfortably transport 4 fully sized adults to a movie. Does anyone still go to movies? Or even have 4 people in their car anymore? Well, you could.
All right, so a couple of wild card things here for me. The first is the sound of the engine. It's not the most delicious thing I've ever heard. VW is definitely pumping noise in here in track mode to try and make it feel sportier. Some little gurgles and blurbs, but you know, it's okay. The second thing, you can get rev matching on the Civic Si, on the WRX, on the Type R. You don't have that here, which to me feels like a little extra added something that VW could have put in. I will say though, the seats are really comfortable. I'm really enjoying the feel of them. They're sporty, they're not too harsh, so take those or leave those.
The suspension gets a track mode that feels appropriately named. This setting is so firm you feel the imperfections in the road. However, it's not super uncomfortable nor completely jarring.
So when you're in comfort mode, the Golf R also does a pretty good daily driver impersonation. I mean, it's still a performance sporty car, so you still get the stiffness, you still get that kind of firm feel when you're going over bumps, but it's not too stiff and it's not too gushy. I feel like it strikes a really nice balance between the two, and it's very livable.
When it comes to safety tech, the Golf R gets more features than the previous gen had, including blind spot monitoring, adaptive cruise control, and lane keeping assist. These advanced systems are available with the manual transmission, which, note, they are not available on the Subaru WRX manual, but I will say the lane keeping assist isn't as smooth as some others on the market right now. Overall, the drivability of the Golf R is highly desirable. It's been a while, but I would love to do a comparison with the Civic Type R, the Veloster N, and the WRX STI. All of these are affordable sports sedans that really do give you a lot of bang for your buck.
When it comes to the inside of the Golf R, I'm not going to gush so effusively.
It does get a 10.25-inch digital gauge cluster, which is good, customizable, and clear. I love it.
It's when I get to the 10-inch touchscreen and how all of these things are interacted with by the driver where things go south for me. So I think it looks great. This has nothing to do with the aesthetic. To me, it's the functionality of it that is just a huge miss. So let's take the touchscreen for example. If I'm coming here to touch something and accidentally graze one of these buttons, you can see how sensitive these haptic touch buttons are. It really is, it's absolutely mind-boggling how distracting it is if I'm here and I'm trying to rest my hand here and sort of keep it steady, especially when I'm driving, especially over a bump or something. It's so easy to hit these things and absolutely go completely off the rails with what you're doing. Same situation here. A lot of really great functionality buttons, but the steering wheel heating on off switch is here. I've hit this so many times when I'm just doing general driving. The mode change is here. These buttons are all so sensitive that they really do interfere with what you're trying to do while you're driving. Not a really good thing. To me, it genuinely feels like whoever designed this didn't take it out for a test drive and actually see how it works in person, and that is a huge problem. Like I said, it looks good, but you can't just have form, you need function.
As for interior goodies, the R gets wireless charging and Apple CarPlay and Android Auto standard, which is great. And when you do figure out how it all works, the infotainment system allows you to customize and has very clear graphics. But it's a bit complicated and layered. Yes, the interior disappoints when it comes to the grand scheme of the car. It simply lacks the specialness of the Mark 7.
VW is pulling a bit of a fast one with the Golf. Now, what I mean by that is the regular Golf is no longer available in the United States, only the GTI and the R. Now, those are performance-minded cars, so you can see why I said they're pulling a fast one, right? Like, get it? Yeah, okay, that's really stupid, I'm sorry.
Stupid maybe, but it's true. And the R is only available as a fully loaded animal. Your one option? Transmission.
Base price on the Golf R starts at about $43,700. You're going to pay $800 for that DSG transmission. That's about $3,300 more than the previous base price of the Mark 7.
But what you get for your money is generous and includes an adaptive damping suspension, performance summer tires, 14-inch front brake rotors, LED head and tail lights, Napa leather sports seats, a heated leather-wrapped steering wheel, 3-zone climate control, snazzy audio system, etc., etc. You get the idea. If VW offers it, you get it here.
So, do I still have love for the Golf R? Well, I will say this, the interior is not helping it much, but with the well-honed driving dynamics, the zippy speed, and this little thing's innate ability to make you look good on road or track, yeah, I'm gonna say there's still a lot of love. Now, for the love of all things, go to VW and buy one so they don't stop selling this one here.